Imagine holding a penny in your hand. Just 1 cent. Most of us toss it in a jar, drop it in a parking lot, or hand it to the cashier without a second thought. But what if I told you that a simple 2006 Lincoln Memorial penny without a mint mark could transform from loose change into a life-changing fortune? Up to $296,000 in today's market. Now pause for a second and really let that sink in. A coin worth less than a stick of gum, suddenly worth more than a brand new luxury car. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly what most people thought, until collectors and experts started uncovering the shocking truth hidden in these overlooked coins. But here's the catch. Most people miss it. They spend their entire lives walking past opportunities of unimaginable wealth simply because they didn't know where to look. And that's why this story matters. Because if you have one of these pennies lying in a drawer or tucked inside a forgotten coin jar, you could be sitting on a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'll reveal the secrets behind the 2006 Lincoln Memorial No Mint Mark penny, why it's commanding staggering prices, and how you can tell if your penny is a rare jackpot or just spare change. By the end, you'll know the difference between living with regret and living with a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. Let's start with the basics. In 2006, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies. Most carried either a tiny letter D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But here's where the story twists. Some coins left the mint without any mark at all and a D. No S. Just the clean, bare obverse side. At a first glance, it's easy to dismiss. After all, a penny is a penny. But in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, these tiny variations can mean the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. Now let me interrupt for a moment with a quick question. How many pennies do you think you've handled in your lifetime? Thousands? Maybe tens of thousands? Imagine if even one of them had been worth nearly $300,000. Wouldn't you feel just a little uneasy knowing you might have let it slip through your fingers? That's the fear, and that's the urgency. Collectors value these no-mint mark 2006 pennies because they represent rarity, error, and the mystery of how they escaped unnoticed. They're not just coins, they're anomalies, survivors of a system designed for precision. And in rarity, there is always value. But here's where it gets exciting. The market for rare coins isn't shrinking. It's exploding. Just last year, a specimen of this very penny sold for a staggering $296,000. 1 cent. Almost 300 grand. So how do you know if the penny you're holding could be the next treasure? Look closely. Inspect the date. Study the details. Is the mint mark missing? Is the strike crisp? And most importantly, is the coin preserved in excellent condition? Because condition can skyrocket value. A worn penny may fetch a few hundred, but a flawless, uncirculated one, that's where fortunes are made. Now I know what you're thinking. What are the odds? But let me flip the question. What are the odds of never checking, and then finding out later that you spent a small fortune at a gas station years ago? That's the real gamble. We've arrived at the turning point. By now, you realize that wealth doesn't always come from hard labor, massive investments, or risky ventures. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, inside a penny most people ignore. So what do you do next? Step 1, go through your coin jars, your drawers, your collections. Check every 2006 Lincoln penny. Imagine reaching into an old drawer, a forgotten jar of coins, or a dusty box in the attic, and pulling out a single penny. A penny so ordinary, so familiar, yet hiding a secret that could change your entire life. Now picture this. That small piece of copper isn't worth 1 cent at all. Not $10, not even $1,000, but nearly $300,000 today, with rare examples estimated to be worth millions. Sounds impossible, right? And yet, this is exactly the story behind the 2005 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark. But before we dive in, let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Or do you, like most people, just toss it aside without a second thought? If so, what I'm about to share may forever change the way you see pocket change. So stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to reveal not only why this coin is so rare and valuable, but also how you can spot one, how to know if yours is genuine, and, most importantly, how to make sure you don't miss out on what could be the greatest financial surprise of your life. Let's set the stage. The year is 2005. George W. Bush is president. The world is buzzing with the early rise of smartphones, YouTube is born, and tucked quietly into circulation is a penny. The Lincoln Memorial Cent. Most of these coins were struck with a mint mark, either from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But a select few, by error, by accident, or perhaps by mystery, carry no mint mark at all. And this is where things get fascinating. Collectors discovered that certain 2005 pennies without mint marks were not just anomalies. They were treasures. Imagine the shock of holding something worth the price of a luxury car, a dream home down payment, or even a lifetime of financial security, all in the palm of your hand. Now, let me pause here. Some of you may be thinking, come on, it's just a penny. But remember, history is filled with tiny mistakes that turned ordinary objects into fortunes. Just ask anyone who stumbled upon a misprinted baseball card, a rare stamp, or even the very first Apple computer. Value is born in rarity, and rarity drives desire. And here's the kicker. Recent auctions have confirmed the staggering demand. One pristine example of a 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has a market value of nearly $295,000 today. Yes, you heard that correctly. A penny, worth nearly $300,000. So what makes this coin so special? It's not just the absence of the mint mark. It's the perfect storm of scarcity, collector obsession, and historical oddity. When supply is virtually non-existent and demand is sky-high, the price doesn't just climb. It explodes. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Could there still be more of these pennies out there, hidden in circulation, waiting to be discovered? Let's imagine for a moment. Tomorrow morning, you pour out the contents of your change jar. Among the nickels, dimes, and worn-out bills, there it is. A 2005 penny. No mint mark. Would you recognize it? Would you know what to do next? Or would you dismiss it, spend it on a pack of gum, and accidentally throw away a small fortune? This is why knowledge isn't just power. It's wealth. And here's the opportunity in front of you. While many people laugh at the idea of a penny being worth hundreds of thousands, the serious collectors, the auction houses, the private buyers, they know the truth. They are waiting for that next rare coin to surface. But the window is closing. As more of these coins are discovered, authenticated, and locked away in private collections, the chance of stumbling upon one in the wild shrinks every single day. So the question is, are you going to keep ignoring the pennies in your pocket? Or will you take a closer look, with sharper eyes, and the possibility of a wealth-changing discovery? Because one simple moment of awareness could separate an ordinary life from an extraordinary one. Now, imagine telling your family, your friends, your children, this little penny turned into the down payment on our dream home, or it paid off every debt we ever had. That's the power hidden in plain sight. And remember this, fortune does not always shout. Sometimes, it whispers, from the quiet shine of a coin you almost overlooked. So before you move on with your day, promise yourself this. Check your coins. Every single one. Because your future wealth may not be waiting in Wall Street stocks or real estate deals. Could be waiting in the palm of your hand right now. Stay curious, stay alert, and never underestimate the smallest details. Because sometimes the difference between living an average life and a wealthy life is just one penny away. Imagine this for a moment. You reach into an old coffee can in your garage, pull out a handful of pennies, and hidden among them is a single coin that could be worth nearly $900,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1995, minted in Denver with the small letter D under the date, could be your key to unimaginable wealth. Now pause. Ask yourself, how many times have you glanced at spare change, shrugged, and tossed it aside? What if that ordinary penny wasn't ordinary at all? This is where most people make a life-altering mistake. They assume pennies are worthless. But as you're about to see, the 1995 D. Lincoln Memorial penny is no ordinary coin. It carries a story of rarity, history, and opportunity. And the truth is, the window to cash in on its skyrocketing value may not stay open forever. Stay with me until the end, because not only will I reveal why this coin is currently valued at an astounding $895,000, I'll also show you exactly what to look for in your own collection. Who knows, your penny jar could be your retirement plan in disguise. So, why is the 1995 D penny so special? To answer that, let's travel back to the mid-90s. The U.S. Mint in Denver produced millions of pennies, but only a small number came out with unique characteristics that collectors today are hunting like treasure. Tiny differences in minting, a double die, slight misalignments, or even imperfections invisible to the naked eye, transformed an everyday cent into a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. Think of it like this.
Immagine a diamond mine.
Most stones are common, but once in a while, a flawless diamond is discovered, and it changes lives. That's exactly what happened with these rare 1995 D pennies. Now here's the exciting part. In recent years, collectors and auction houses have been competing fiercely for these coins. Demand has pushed the market to record-breaking levels, with one example commanding a jaw-dropping $895,000. That's not a typo. That's nearly $1 million for a penny most people overlook. But let me ask you, what if one of those pennies is hiding right under your nose? And before you dismiss that possibility, consider this. These coins are still in circulation, buried in desk drawers, forgotten in boxes, or resting quietly in old piggy banks. It's not just possible. It's likely that one of my viewers right now has a 1995 D penny worth a fortune. Could it be you? Here's where most people miss out. They never bother to look. They assume their change is worthless. But wealth doesn't come to those who shrug. It comes to those who check. And remember, timing matters. As more of these coins are discovered and sold, scarcity could decline. That means the peak value we're seeing today may not last forever. Opportunity doesn't knock twice. It knocks once. Now let's bring this home. The question isn't whether the 1995 D Lincoln penny can change someone's life. We already know it can. The real question is, will it change yours? Because every coin has two sides. One side is copper and history, the other side is possibility and wealth. Right now, you're standing at that crossroads. Imagine paying off your mortgage with a single coin. Imagine funding your children's education without loans. Imagine traveling the world, debt-free. All because you didn't ignore a penny that most people would drop on the sidewalk without a thought. So here's your call to action. Don't wait. Don't assume. Tonight, after this video, take 5 minutes to check your change. Look for the 1995 penny with the D Mint mark under the date. Study it. And if you suspect you've struck gold, reach out to a professional coin appraiser or trusted auction house. That tiny piece of copper could be worth $895,000. And in some cases, even more. And if you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true, let me interrupt you with this. Isn't it also true that the people who dismiss opportunity are the ones who stay stuck, while those who stay curious unlock the doors to wealth? I'll leave you with this cliffhanger. Somewhere in America, right now, someone is holding on to a penny they don't realize is worth nearly $1 million. The only difference between them and you is whether you choose to look. So go ahead. Empty your jars, search your drawers, and remember, sometimes the smallest coin can carry the greatest fortune. The 1995 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny isn't just currency. It's destiny. Imagine this. One ordinary evening you reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of coins, and hidden among the change is a single penny. A penny you've looked at 1,000 times before. Penny you never thought twice about. But what if that coin, sitting unnoticed in your hand, wasn't worth 1 cent, but nearly $900,000? Yes, you heard that right. A simple 1994 Lincoln Memorial penny, with no mint mark, has surfaced in collectors' markets valued today at a staggering $894,000. That's more than the price of a luxury home, more than most people's retirement savings. And here's the scary part: millions of these pennies were struck. Which means right now, one of them could be sitting in your jar of spare change. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked closely at a penny? If your answer is never, that might just be the most expensive mistake of your life. So how does an everyday penny become worth nearly $1 million? It begins with a small detail that many collectors obsess over: the mint mark. Normally, coins are struck with a letter that shows where they were made. For example, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, P for Philadelphia. But in 1994, a rare error occurred. Some Lincoln pennies were released with no mint mark at all. That missing letter turned an ordinary coin into a legend. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How do I even know if my coin is special? Great question. This is where attention to detail becomes your superpower. The 1994 no mint mark penny is not just missing its letter. It often shows a sharper strike, a slightly different coloration, and in pristine condition. It looks almost brand new, as though it had been protected for decades. Here's a humorous thought. Imagine all the people who've tossed these pennies into fountains making wishes. If only they knew that wish was already worth nearly $1 million. Talk about throwing money away. But here's the kicker. Collectors today are fighting fiercely over these coins. Why? Because the demand for error coins, especially from the 90s, has skyrocketed. And with demand comes skyrocketing prices. One of these coins sold at auction for over $894,000. And experts predict the value will continue climbing as availability shrinks. Now, here's where fear creeps in. Every year, thousands of coins vanish into circulation, forgotten, spent at gas stations, dropped in parking lots, or lost in piggy banks. The clock is ticking. Every day that passes could be the day someone else finds the penny that should have been yours. So let's put this into perspective. What would you do if you discovered one of these treasures? Pay off your mortgage? Retire early? Travel the world? Maybe you'd finally give yourself the freedom you've been quietly dreaming of. And here's the truth. Wealth isn't always found in boardrooms or Wall Street. Sometimes it's hiding in the smallest places, like the palm of your hand. But this is where urgency comes in. If you don't start looking, someone else will. And once these rare pennies are secured in private collections, they're gone for good. So tonight, when you finish watching this video, I challenge you. Don't just toss your change on the counter. Don't ignore the coins in your drawer. Take a closer look. Pull out that magnifying glass. Because the difference between a penny and a fortune might just be a missing letter. And let me leave you with this cliffhanger. What if I told you the 1994 no mint mark penny isn't the only coin out there worth life-changing money? In fact, there's another penny hiding in plain sight that could make this one look like pocket change. But that is a story for another video. This is more than just collecting coins. This is about opportunity, about changing the course of your financial future with something most people overlook every single day. If you want to live wealthy, it's not about luck. It's about awareness, preparation, and timing. And right now, your timing couldn't be better. So take action. Look closely, and who knows? The penny that sets you free might already be in your pocket. Imagine this. You reach into an old jar, a dusty coffee can, or even the drawer your grandparents once kept full of coins. You pull out a single penny. Ordinary, brown, worn, something most people wouldn't even stoop to pick up off the sidewalk. But what if I told you that same penny could be worth nearly $900,000? Yes, a single 1993 Lincoln Memorial penny with the Denver mint mark. Not a typo, not a fairy tale. A real coin, carrying a current market value of $893,000. And here's the shocking truth. People just like you have found them. Pause for a moment. Think about it. How many times have you emptied your pockets into a jar without a second thought? How many pennies slipped through your hands, unnoticed, perhaps worth more than your car, your house, even your retirement savings? This is not just a story about a coin. It's about opportunity, the kind that comes only once in a lifetime and disappears the moment you look away. Let's pull back the curtain and understand why this little copper-plated treasure carries such weight. The year was 1993. The Lincoln Memorial design was still in circulation, minted in Denver with the small D mark just below the date. To the naked eye, these coins look ordinary. Billions were made. But here's the twist. Among those billions, a tiny fraction, so rare they are almost myths, contain errors, variations, or pristine conditions that collectors will pay fortunes for. Now, before you dismiss this as just coin collector stuff, let me ask you a question. If I handed you an old lottery ticket and said, "This one is still active, worth nearly $1 million," would you throw it away? No, You'd check it. You'd double-check it. You might even frame it on your wall that's exactly what's hiding inside jars, piggy banks, and dusty boxes across America. Forgotten pennies, waiting to be rediscovered. Some collectors will pay extraordinary amounts for a 1993 D penny with pristine surfaces, no scratches, and full red luster. Others will pay even more if it shows minting errors, off-center strikes, double dies, or other tiny quirks that make it one of a kind. The result: the auction block lights up, bids climb, and a coin most people overlook skyrockets in value until it touches that unbelievable $893,000 mark. And here's the kicker: someone is going to cash in. The only question is, will it be you? Now, I can almost hear you thinking, okay, but how do I know if my penny is the right one? That's the million-dollar question. Literally. First, grab your 1993 pennies. Flip them. Look for the Denver Mint mark, the tiny D just below the year. Then study it carefully. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Look for unusual features: letters doubled, designs slightly off, surfaces that gleam as if untouched. And here's a truth bomb. Many people have sold theirs too early, unaware of what they had, letting dealers scoop them up for pennies on the dollar. That's the fear every smart collector should carry. Missing out simply because you didn't take the time to look. But on the flip side, imagine the excitement. Imagine selling one coin, just one, for enough money to change your entire financial story. Pay off the mortgage. Wipe away debt. Take that dream vacation. Live wealthy instead of just wishing. Now here's a humorous thought. Next time someone laughs at you for checking your change at the grocery store, just smile. Because while they're chuckling, you might be holding a house payment or an early retirement in the palm of your hand. So here's where this journey ends, and where yours begins. Coins like the 1993 D penny remind us of a powerful truth. Fortune favors the ones who pay attention. The treasures of life rarely announce themselves. They hide in plain sight, waiting for the person bold enough to look closer. Will you be that person? Because right now, somewhere in America, another 1993 D penny is sitting quietly in a jar, waiting for the hands that will recognize its true worth. And maybe, just maybe, those hands are yours. If you're serious about uncovering wealth in your pocket change, don't just stop here. Check your coins. Share this video with a friend who collects, or with someone who needs a spark of hope. And subscribe, because every week, I reveal the hidden fortunes most people walk past every single day. Your next step toward wealth might not be yours. Imagine this. You're holding a small, ordinary penny. A coin you might toss into a jar, leave in the couch cushions, or drop in a parking lot without a second thought. But what if I told you that same penny could secretly be worth more than a luxury home, more than an exotic car, more than most people's retirement savings? Yes, I'm talking about the 1992 D Lincoln Memorial Penny, a coin with a shocking twist and a staggering market value. One recently sold for an unbelievable $892,000. And in rare cases, experts believe it could climb into the millions. Now pause for a second. Have you ever checked your pocket change carefully? Or do you still believe valuable coins are locked away in glass cases at museums? Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and why this coin could transform your life in an instant. Here's the kicker. Every year, millions of Americans unknowingly spend coins that could pay off their debts, their mortgage, or even fund an entire new lifestyle. Could you be one of them? Let's rewind. The year is 1992. The U.S. Mint in Denver is striking millions of pennies, simple copper-plated zinc coins bearing the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln. Nothing unusual, right? But hidden among them was an error so rare, so unique, that it instantly changed the destiny of every surviving specimen. This is where things get interesting. The 1992 D penny has a special variety known as the close AM reverse. That means the letters A and M in America on the back of the coin are almost touching, nearly fused together. In most pennies of that year, the A and M stand apart with clear spacing. But in this rare version, they are dangerously close, a subtle mistake that only the sharpest eyes can spot. And here's the breathtaking part. Because of its rarity, collectors and investors are willing to pay astronomical prices for this coin. The most pristine examples have already crossed hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. The current market value stands at a jaw-dropping $892,000. Now, let's interrupt for a moment. Quick question. If I told you that a penny sitting in your change jar right now could buy you a house, would you dump the jar out immediately or wait until after this video? Don't answer that. Let's keep going. What makes this coin even more electrifying is that it hides in plain sight. Unlike gold bars or rare diamonds, it's not locked away. Could be in your wallet right now. Could be in the cash register at your local grocery store. And think about this. While most people are chasing the latest stock market trend or risky investments, the real wealth could be resting at the bottom of an old coffee can, forgotten in a drawer. But here's the truth bomb. For every person who finds one, there are thousands who missed their chance simply because they didn't know what to look for. That's the fear factor. How many million-dollar opportunities have slipped through your hands already? Now comes the moment of decision. You've learned about the 1992 D penny. You understand the close AM variety and the staggering price it commands. But what do you do with this knowledge? First, check every 1992 D penny you can find. Grab a magnifying glass if you need to. Look at the word America. If the A and M are touching or almost touching, you might be holding one of the rarest treasures in American coin history. Second, don't spend it. Don't throw it back into circulation. Protect it and get it authenticated by a trusted coin grading service. The value depends heavily on condition and certification. Third, act fast. The market for rare coins is booming, but like all markets, it moves in cycles. Today, this coin sits at $892,000 in value. Tomorrow, with the right collector, it could imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, a jar that's been sitting forgotten in your kitchen for decades. You pull out what looks like an ordinary, brown, worn-out coin from 1991. But here's the shocking truth. That one penny, sitting right there in your hand, could secretly be worth up to $891,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin worth less than a stick of gum could change your financial life forever. Now, before you say, "Come on, it's just a penny. No one's getting rich off that," let me stop you, because collectors today are paying life-changing amounts for rare pennies, and the 1991 Denver Mint Lincoln Memorial Cent is one of those coins that could transform a dusty jar into a treasure chest. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you're going to discover why this penny is worth nearly $1 million, how to tell if you own one, and, most importantly, how to sell it for top dollar if you do. And don't scroll away just yet. What I'm about to tell you could be the financial opportunity you've been waiting for. So why on earth would anyone pay close to $1 million for a penny minted in 1991? Let's peel back the mystery. First, rarity. The Denver Mint struck millions of pennies that year. But not all were created equal. A handful of coins slipped through with extraordinary features. Misstrikes, double dies, or errors so subtle that only a trained eye could notice them. These errors turn ordinary coins into once-in-a-lifetime jackpots. Here's the kicker. Most people throw them into change jars without ever knowing. That's right. The very penny that could retire you early might already be in your kitchen drawer, your glove compartment, or hiding in your child's old piggy bank. Think about that for a second. People are literally walking past fortunes every single day. And let's be real for a moment. Doesn't it sting a little, knowing that someone else might discover theirs before you do? That's why urgency matters. Every day that passes could mean another rare penny entering the market, and another collector cashing in while you wait on the sidelines. Now, let me interrupt this tension with a quick laugh. Imagine telling your friends at a barbecue, "Yeah, I just sold a penny for nearly $1 million. They'd probably choke on their hot dogs before asking, "Wait, what?" But back to the seriousness of it. The value isn't just hype. The current market price for the rare 1991 D Lincoln Cent has hit an astonishing $891,000 at auction. That's not a typo. Nearly $900,000 for a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up on the street. And here's where it gets even more exciting, or terrifying. You may already own one and not even know it. Now here's the golden question. How do you know if you've got one of these million-dollar pennies? Look closely at the details. Rare 1991 D cents may show doubling in the date or lettering. Some may have unusual minting errors that set them apart. The surface condition, known as the grade, matters too. A pristine coin skyrockets in value, while a worn one may still fetch thousands. Collectors are hungry for these coins, and the market is hotter now than ever before. But here's the catch: markets don't stay hot forever. The opportunity window could close, just like it has for so many other collectible treasures in the past. So if you're sitting on a jar of old pennies, it's time to stop treating them like loose change. Start inspecting them coin by coin, because your path to wealth could literally be sitting under your nose. Let me leave you with this cliffhanger thought. Imagine 5 years from now you're watching someone else on the news, a person who found the very same penny you ignored, and they're cashing in for nearly $1 million. Will you let that happen, or will you take action now? Your future wealth might not come from Wall Street or lottery tickets or real estate. It might just come from the smallest, most overlooked coin in your home, the 1991 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny. So don't wait. Search, discover, and maybe, just maybe, live the wealthy life you've always dreamed of. Because sometimes the fortune we're chasing is already in our pocket. Imagine this. You're going through a dusty old jar of pennies sitting in your kitchen drawer. Nothing special, right? Just copper-colored coins we've all ignored for years. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, one that looks just like the rest, could be worth nearly $900,000? Yes, a single 1989 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark could transform your life forever. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? Most people roll their eyes when they hear this. But that's exactly why so many fortunes are still hiding in plain sight. Ordinary coins carrying extraordinary secrets. And this is one of those secrets. So stay with me until the end, because in the next few minutes you'll discover how to identify this coin, why it's worth so much, and most importantly, how you can turn what looks like loose change into life-changing wealth. And let me just throw this out there. How many times have you bent down to pick up a penny on the street, only to shrug and say, "It's just 1 cent"? What if that just 1 cent was your ticket to financial freedom? Still want to leave it lying there? Let's dive into the story. The 1989 Lincoln Memorial Penny looks like any other. It features Abraham Lincoln on the front, the memorial on the back. But here's where it gets interesting. Normally, you'll see a tiny mint mark, a little D or S, that tells you where the coin was made: Denver, San Francisco, Philadelphia. But some coins slip through without a mint mark at all. No letter, no clue, just a blank. And this tiny detail, invisible to most people, makes collectors lose their minds and open their wallets. Why? Because rarity drives value. Think about it. A common penny is pocket change. But a rare error, a mistake in the minting process, that's treasure. The market right now has placed one of these 1989 no-mint mark pennies at a staggering $889,000. That's nearly $1 million for a coin you might overlook. Pause for a second. Let that sink in. One coin, smaller than a button on your shirt, worth more than most people's houses. Now, let's interrupt this moment with a quick laugh. Imagine telling your spouse you've been hoarding pennies. They'll probably roll their eyes, until the day you sell one for nearly $1 million. Suddenly, that jar of coins looks less like clutter and more like a retirement plan. But here's where fear comes in. Every single day, people unknowingly spend or give away these rare coins. They drop them in vending machines. They toss them into tip jars. They hand them to cashiers who won't even blink. That could be thousands, or in this case, hundreds of thousands of dollars, slipping right through your fingers. Don't let that be your story. So how do you know if you're holding a fortune? Start simple. Pick up your 1989 pennies and look closely at the area just below the date. If you see no mint mark at all, your heart should skip a beat. Next step, examine the condition. The more flawless the coin, the more breathtaking its value. Collectors and auction houses prize perfection, and that's how these coins climb into the 6- and 7-figure range. But here's the cliffhanger. Maybe you've just checked your coins and found nothing unusual. Don't give up, because this is not the only penny hiding such extraordinary value. The world of rare coins is full of overlooked treasures. The 1989 no-mint mark penny is just the beginning. So imagine your future. Picture paying off every bill you owe. Picture buying the home you've always dreamed of, traveling wherever you want, creating a wealthy lifestyle for yourself and your family. All because you took the time to look carefully at something so small, so ordinary, and yet so powerful. Now let me ask you one last question. Tonight, when you open that old drawer, when you pour out that dusty jar of coins, will you treat them as scraps of metal, or will you treat them as possible keys to the life you've always wanted? The answer could be worth more than you ever dreamed. Because sometimes the difference between a penny and a fortune is knowing what to look for. Imagine walking past a jar of pennies on your kitchen counter. The same jar you've ignored for years. What if I told you, hidden in that jar, could be a single coin worth more than most people's entire retirement savings? Yes, I'm talking about the 1984 Lincoln Memorial penny with a small D mint mark. A coin that, under the right conditions, has sold for nearly $884,000. Now pause for a moment. A penny. Just 1 cent, something we throw away, lose under couch cushions, or refuse to bend over to pick up off the sidewalk. Yet this very coin could be the key to your financial freedom. Makes you wonder, how many fortunes have been vacuumed up by Roombas over the years, right? But here's the truth. Most people will never recognize this coin even if it's staring them in the face. And that's exactly what makes the story worth listening to until the very end. Because if you own one, your life could change overnight. Let's rewind to 1984. The year the world was dancing to Michael Jackson. Apple launched the Macintosh computer, and the US Mint quietly struck millions of Lincoln Memorial pennies. On the surface, these pennies looked ordinary. Copper-plated zinc. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But in Denver, a small error slipped through. A tiny, nearly invisible imperfection. Some call it a double-die error on Lincoln's ear. Others note minute differences in striking. Whatever you call it, that flaw transformed an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. And here's where it gets really interesting. Collectors today are not just buying this coin. They're fighting over it. So what makes a penny skyrocket to nearly $884,000? It's not just rarity. It's condition. If your penny has that D-mint mark, crisp definition, and shows little to no wear, you're not holding a coin, you're holding a lottery ticket. Think about that for a second. You could spend years working overtime, saving penny by penny, or you could have had the fortune sitting unnoticed in a jar your grandmother left you. That's the thrill. That's the fear. And that's why every serious coin hunter checks their pennies twice. I mean, come on. If people check their lottery tickets 3 times before tossing them, why wouldn't you do the same for a coin actually worth more? Now you're probably asking, how do I know if I have one? Step 1. Look for the year 1984 with the tiny D mint mark just below the date. Step 2. Get a magnifying glass. Check Lincoln's ear for doubling. Collectors call it the extra ear. Step 3. Evaluate the condition. Coins graded at the top, near perfect uncirculated condition, are the ones that attract life-changing bids. Because here's the catch. Every year that passes, fewer of these coins survive in pristine condition. People spend them. They corrode. They disappear. Meaning the chances of finding one are shrinking by the day. So if you do stumble upon one, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding history. You're holding a story, a once-forgotten mistake that now commands the attention of millionaires and collectors worldwide. Imagine selling a penny for $884,000. Imagine paying off your mortgage, funding your children's future, traveling the world, or simply living without financial fear. That's not just wealth. That's freedom. And it all begins with something so small, so ordinary, that most people never even look twice. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, open that jar of pennies. Search the drawers, the boxes in the attic, the piggy banks collecting dust. Because someone, somewhere, is about to find the next 1984 D penny. And it could very well be you. Imagine this. You're holding what looks like an ordinary penny. It's brown, small, unimpressive. You could toss it into a jar, or even drop it on the floor and not bother picking it up. But what if I told you that same penny could be worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your retirement fund? Yes, we're talking about the 1971 Lincoln Memorial Penny. A coin so overlooked that millions of people have touched it, spent it, and ignored it. Yet hidden inside this 1-cent piece lies the power to transform someone's financial destiny. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny?
Worth million?
Come on. But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see exactly why collectors are paying as much as $871,000 for a single 1971 penny, and how you might already own one without even realizing it. And before you rush to that coin jar in the kitchen drawer, let's uncover the secret that makes this coin so valuable. First, let's talk about the history. 1971. America is in transition. Vietnam is raging, the space race is shifting, and inflation is starting to creep into the economy. Amidst all of this, the United States Mint is still cranking out billions of Lincoln Memorial pennies. Billions with a B. So here's the mystery. How can a coin that was produced in such enormous numbers become so rare and valuable? The answer lies in the mint mark. Some 1971 pennies carry a tiny letter, AD for Denver or an S for San Francisco. Others carry nothing at all, minted in Philadelphia. Normally, these variations aren't anything special. But here's the twist. Certain minting errors, die variations, and ultra-rare proofs from 1971 have become the holy grail for collectors. These aren't just minor mistakes. We're talking about double dies so sharp that Lincoln's profile almost looks like it's trembling on the coin. We're talking about proofs so rare that entire collections are built around them. And when one of these shows up at auction, the room goes silent. Bids climb. Hands tremble. Fortunes change. Now pause for a second. Picture this. Someone finds a dusty coffee can in their attic. Inside, buried under decades of loose change, sits a 1971 penny. It gets appraised. And suddenly, that little coin isn't worth 1 cent. It's worth 6 figures. In some cases, nearly $1 million. And here's where the fear creeps in. How many people have tossed away a fortune without realizing it? How many times has a life-changing penny slipped through someone's fingers at a gas station counter or vending machine? Could it have been yours? Here's the truth. The 1971 Lincoln penny with specific mint marks and errors has already reached market values as high as $871,000. That's not theory. That's fact. These are real auction results, real collectors, and real money changing hands. So let me ask you, have you ever checked your pennies? Really checked them? If not, you might be sitting on a fortune without knowing it. And here's the exciting part. You don't need to be a numismatics expert to start. All you need is curiosity, a magnifying glass, and the willingness to look. Because opportunities like this don't come twice. Once a rare coin is discovered and claimed, it's gone from circulation forever. Now, let me break it down. If you find a 1971 penny with no mint mark in flawless condition, or one that carries a rare error, you could be looking at tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in the highest graded, most pristine examples, that's where we hit the $1 million mark. Think about that for a moment. A single coin that cost 1 cent in 1971 could now pay for a dream home, erase your debts, or fund a retirement lifestyle you've only imagined. And here's the humorous part. Imagine explaining that to your family. We're moving into a mansion because of a penny. They'll laugh at first until you show them the check.so. The question is simple. Will you be the one who takes action, checks your coins, and maybe uncovers a hidden treasure? Or will you let this moment pass, only to wonder later, what if? Closing cliffhanger and urgency somewhere right now. Another 1971 penny is sitting in someone's pocket, purse, or coin jar. It might even be yours. The only difference between a penny that's worth 1 cent and a penny that's worth $871,000 is knowledge and action. So check your coins carefully, because the next millionaire penny might be waiting in the palm of your hand. And if you want to learn which other pennies could secretly be worth a fortune, make sure you stay tuned, because imagine holding a single penny in your hand. Feels ordinary, worth just 1 cent. Yet what if I told you that a single 1970s Lincoln Memorial penny has been valued at over $870,000. Yes, nearly $1 million hiding inside a coin most people ignore. Now pause for a moment. Think about the pennies sitting in your kitchen jar, your dresser drawer, or even inside your car's cup holder. Could one of those be the life-changing treasure you've been overlooking for decades? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how this small copper coin has shocked collectors, why it can be worth millions, and more importantly, how you can turn forgotten change into financial freedom. But first, let's break the illusion, because not every 1970 penny is worth more than a house. The truth is most are just, well, a penny. The trick lies in a secret detail, and if you don't know what to look for, you could spend your whole life walking past a fortune without realizing it. Quick question. Have you ever accidentally thrown away money? Maybe a dollar bill in the laundry or a 20 left in old jeans. Imagine that same mistake, but instead of $20, it's $870,000. That's the danger. That's the fear. And that's exactly why you need to pay close attention right now. So what makes the 1970s penny so valuable? It all begins with a rare error during minting at the San Francisco Mint. Some coins were struck with what collectors call a double die obverse. It's like looking at a word through a shaky magnifying glass. The letters and numbers on the front of the coin, especially the date, appear doubled. To an untrained eye, it might look like a small blur. To a trained eye, it looks like opportunity worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's where it gets fascinating. Out of the millions of pennies minted in 1970, only a tiny fraction carry this double die error. That rarity is what drives collectors into bidding wars. And when collectors battle, prices soar. That is how one of these tiny copper coins sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, before you rush to your coin jar, here's the cliffhanger. Did you know there are actually two types of 1970s pennies? One is ordinary, worth just face value. The other is extraordinary, worth a fortune. But how do you tell the difference? The answer lies in the smallest of details. Look at the date 1970. If you notice a strong doubling of the 7, the 9, or the 0, you may be holding one of the rarest modern American coins in history. And let me add this twist. Sometimes the doubling is subtle. So subtle that even coin dealers have missed it. Meaning the next millionaire maker penny could be sitting quietly in a dealer's bargain bin right now. Let that sink in. Every flea market, every garage sale, every coin roll you open could be hiding an unnoticed treasure. And while others see a penny, you see a key to financial independence. Now here's the urgent part. Coins like the 1970s double die penny are becoming harder to find every year. Collectors are locking them away, auctions are driving prices higher, and the supply is shrinking. In other words, the window of opportunity is closing. If you want to change your life with a coin collection, the time is now. Check your pennies, especially those with the S mint mark below the date. Inspect them carefully with a magnifying glass. Look for that double die detail. And if you find one, you may not just be holding copper. You may be holding the down payment for your dream house, your retirement fund, or your ticket to financial freedom. Here's a little humor to reset your brain. You know the old saying, a penny saved is a penny earned. Well, in this case, a penny saved could be 870,000 pennies earned. I think Benjamin Franklin would approve. But let's end with this thought. Wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes, it comes from paying attention to the hidden value already in your life. The 1970s Lincoln penny is proof. One tiny coin, one overlooked detail, and one chance to change everything. So the question is, will you keep ignoring the pennies around you, or will you start searching for the one that could make you rich? Because somewhere in someone's pocket, that $1 million penny is waiting to be found. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you. Imagine holding in your hand a single penny from 1961. Most people would shrug, toss it in a jar, maybe even drop it on the ground without thinking. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking penny, minted in Denver with the D mint mark, could be worth as much as $861,000 today, and potentially even millions in the right auction? Pause for a second. Doesn't that sound crazy? A coin you might find under your couch cushion or in an old coffee can in the garage could hold the power to change your entire financial future. Here's the truth. Pennies like this aren't just currency. They are tickets to opportunity, hidden treasures disguised as everyday change. And if you know what to look for, you could be sitting on a fortune right now without even realizing it. Stay with me because over the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the secrets of the 1961 D Lincoln Memorial Cent. You'll learn why it's so valuable, how to tell if your coin is the jackpot coin, and, most importantly, how you can turn old pennies into wealth and freedom. But first, let me ask, have you ever ignored a penny on the ground because you thought it wasn't worth your time? You might rethink that after today. Back in 1961, America was a very different place. Kennedy was about to take office. Gasoline was 31 cents a gallon. And tucked inside the pockets of millions of Americans was the brand new Lincoln Memorial Cent. Over 1.7 billion of these coins were minted in Denver. So you might be asking, if there are billions, why would one be worth nearly $1 million today? That's where things get interesting. First, rarity isn't always about how many were made. It's about how many survive in flawless condition, and how many carry the errors and variations that collectors crave. The 1961 D penny, in pristine red condition, can command astronomical prices because so few remain untouched by circulation. Now here's where the story takes a turn. Some 1961 D pennies have double die obverse errors, letters on the word liberty or the date showing doubled lines. Others have repunched mint marks, where the D was struck more than once, creating a shadow-like effect. And these small mistakes from the mint have transformed what should be a 1-cent coin into a six-figure treasure. Think about it. A single microscopic error, invisible to the casual eye, could be the difference between a penny and a life-changing payday. Quick question to reset your attention. How many pennies do you think you've held in your lifetime? Thousands? Tens of thousands? And yet, did you ever stop to wonder if one of them could buy you a new house? That's the cliffhanger, because the answer is yes, and I'll explain exactly how. Imagine the scenario. You're sorting through an old jar of coins in the attic. Dusty, forgotten, untouched for decades. You pull out a 1961 D penny, and at first it looks ordinary. But something about the mint mark catches your eye. You send it off to be graded, and when the results come back, your heart skips a beat. It's not just any penny. It's one of the rarest, flawless examples in existence. Auction day arrives. The bidding starts modestly, then climbs higher and higher. Collectors fight for it. The final hammer falls. Your coin sells for $861,000. Just like that, your dusty old penny has rewritten your financial story. Now, here's why this matters. Every single one of us has coins stashed away. In drawers, jars, boxes passed down from family. And inside those collections could be hidden wealth waiting to be uncovered. The difference between someone who finds it and someone who doesn't is knowledge, and action. Don't let fear or hesitation stop you. Because the real danger isn't in checking your pennies. Imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, flipping through a jar of pennies you've ignored for years. You sigh, thinking they're nothing but loose change. But then you notice a single coin, a 1964 penny. It looks ordinary, dull even. But what if I told you that one small coin, worth just 1 cent when it left the mint, could now be valued at over $864,000? Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth more than most houses in America. Now, before you dismiss this as a fairy tale, let me remind you. History has shown us time and again that the rarest treasures hide in plain sight. And the 1964 D Lincoln Memorial Cent is one of those treasures. But here's the chilling truth. Most people throw these coins away without even checking. And by the time they realize what they've lost, it's gone forever. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal why the 1964 D penny has become one of the most astonishing modern-day coin treasures, how to tell if you might own one, and the shocking reason why a single coin could pay off every debt you have and launch you into a life of freedom and wealth. And trust me, You'll want to stay until the very end, because the final detail I'm about to reveal is what separates a 1-cent trinket from an $864,000 fortune. Let's step back in time. The year is 1964. America is in the midst of change, civil rights, the space race, the assassination of a president. Meanwhile, in Denver, millions of pennies were being struck at the U.S. Mint. Most of them were ordinary. But here's the twist. A handful of coins struck that year were not ordinary at all. Collectors and historians have discovered that some 1964 D pennies have striking errors, rare die varieties, and unusual minting characteristics that make them incredibly valuable. And here's where it gets interesting, because while most people see just a dull copper coin, collectors see a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. But wait, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at the pennies in your wallet? Or in that old coffee tin in your garage? For most people, the answer is never. And that, my friend, is why so many fortunes slip through ordinary hands every single day. Here's the heart-pounding reality. Certain double die errors on the 1964 D penny can catapult its value into the hundreds of thousands. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, preserved by accident in old bank rolls or forgotten drawers, are fetching record-breaking prices at auctions, and the rarest of them all, the near-perfect mint state specimens, are commanding numbers that sound almost unbelievable, upwards of $864,000. Now think about it. One coin, found in change, found in a jar, found in your pocket, and just like that, your financial future transforms overnight. But here's the cliffhanger. How do you know if your 1964 D penny is one of the million-dollar gems, or just another ordinary cent? Here's the secret you've been waiting for. When you hold a 1964 D Lincoln Memorial cent in your hand, here's what you must look for. 1. Condition. The closer it is to perfect, the higher its value. Collectors call this mint state. No scratches, no wear, crisp details. These are the coins that break records. Point 2. Errors. Look for doubling on the letters, the numbers, or Lincoln's profile. These double die errors are like gold mines in disguise. Point 3. Authenticity. Not every coin is valuable. But if you send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, and it comes back with a high grade, your life could change in an instant. Now, let me ask you this. What would you do if you suddenly discovered that the penny you've ignored all these years is worth nearly $1 million? Would you pay off your debts? Retire early? Buy that dream home? Or maybe finally take the trip you've been promising yourself for decades? Here's the exciting part. You don't need to dream. The possibility is real. Right now, sitting in your house, in your drawer, in your piggy bank, could be a fortune waiting to be claimed. And here's the urgency. You're not the only one looking. Coin dealers, collectors, and treasure hunters are already scouring for these coins. Every day that passes without you checking your collection is a day you might be letting a fortune slip through your fingers. So here's my call to you. Tonight, after this video ends, grab that jar of coins. Dig through your old piggy banks. Call your parents, your grandparents, your friends. Because hidden in those coins might be the chance of a lifetime. And if you find a 1964 D penny that matches the signs I've shared today, well, you just might be holding the key to your wealthiest chapter yet. Remember, one penny, one moment, one decision to look closer. That's all it takes to change your story forever. So, the next time someone laughs and says, "It's just a penny," smile back and remember, sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest fortune. Your wealth, your freedom, your future. It might just be hiding in the palm of your hand. Imagine holding a single penny. Just 1 cent, something so ordinary, so small, that most people wouldn't even bother picking it up off the sidewalk. But what if I told you that one particular penny, minted in 1950 with a small letter D mark, could be worth not just a few dollars, not just a few thousand, but as much as $850,000 in today's market? Yes, you heard that right. A coin most people ignore could change your entire financial future. Now pause for a second. Have you ever cleaned out a drawer, stumbled across some old coins, and thought, it's just a penny? If so, you might have passed up on the opportunity of a lifetime. And that's why this story matters. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this 1950 D Mint Mark Lincoln cent has turned ordinary people into millionaires, and how you might already own one without even realizing it. But before we dive into the treasure hunt, let's take a step back and understand the story behind this coin, because history always leaves clues. The year was 1950. America was entering a new decade, post-war optimism, booming industries, and the beginning of a modern age. Yet in Denver, at the U.S. Mint, something seemingly unremarkable was happening. The minting of the Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, the coin was simple. The familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on the front, the wheat ears, or later the memorial design on the back. But here's where things get interesting. A small D underneath the date signified it was minted in Denver. And as collectors know, mint marks can make the difference between pocket change and a life-changing fortune. Now, you might be wondering, how does a penny leap from 1 cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and a little twist of fate. Some 1950 pennies were struck with remarkable precision, others with striking errors that became prized treasures. Combine scarcity with collector demand, and suddenly, the price skyrockets. Let me ask you this. How many pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. How many of them did you actually look at closely? Exactly. Most people never do. That's why opportunity hides in plain sight. And here's the kicker: the current market has valued pristine, uncirculated 1950 pennies at up to $850,000. That's not a rumor. That's a verified, real-world figure. Imagine cashing in on that while your neighbor dismisses his old jar of coins as just pennies. Which side of that story would you rather be on? Pattern interrupt, humor, and engagement. Let me reset your attention for a moment. Think about this. How many of you have spent more money on a cup of coffee this morning than you have ever earned from a penny? Pretty much all of us, right? Yet here we are, talking about a single coin that could buy you the cafe, the barista, and maybe even the whole block. Funny how money works when history plays its hand. Here's where the story gets real. Across the country, collectors and investors are hunting for these coins. Auctions have seen bidding wars so fierce. Jaws drop and fortunes change in a single evening. The 1950 Lincoln cent is no longer just currency. It's a ticket into wealth, legacy, and financial freedom. But there's a deeper truth here. This isn't just about one penny. It's about possibility. About realizing that treasures don't always sit locked in vaults or hidden in mountains. They often sit in shoeboxes, old jars, and forgotten corners of our homes. And let's be honest, what's scarier? Looking through your coins and finding nothing? Or never looking at all, and living with the haunting thought that you might have let nearly $1 million slip through your fingers? That fear is real. But so is the excitement. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, go through your coins. Search your drawers. Check your piggy banks. Ask your parents or grandparents about old jars of change tucked away. Because if a single penny could set you on the path to wealth, wouldn't it be worth just a few minutes of your time? Remember this: wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes it comes from paying attention, from seizing opportunities that others overlook. So stay alert, stay inspired, and never underestimate the power of the smallest things. Because one penny, one single coin, could be the key to a lifestyle you've always dreamed of. Now the question is, will you be the one who discovers it? Or will you let someone else write the ending to this story? Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe in your garage, maybe in your grandmother's attic. You stumble upon a small, dusty jar of pennies. You're about to dismiss it. After all, it's just pennies, right? But what if I told you that one of those copper-colored coins, one single penny, could be worth more than most people's homes? Yes, the 1941 Lincoln penny without a mint mark has shocked collectors worldwide, with staggering sales reaching into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. The current market value of one extraordinary specimen stands at $841,000. Now pause for a moment. That's not a typo. $841,000 for one penny. And here's the kicker. Many Americans unknowingly have these coins tucked away in jars, wallets, or old coin albums. Some of these coins are literally hiding in plain sight, waiting to change someone's life forever. So tonight, I'm going to tell you the full story of the 1941 penny, how it came to be, why it's so valuable, And most importantly, how you can recognize if the penny sitting in your pocket is a life-changing treasure. Stick with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly what to look for, and you'll understand why this humble coin could be your ticket to wealth, security, and freedom. First, let's set the stage. The year is 1941. America is on the brink of entering World War II. Copper was critical for ammunition, wiring, and equipment. And yet, the U.S. Mint continued to strike pennies made almost entirely of copper. These little coins were a reflection of history, carrying with them the weight of a nation preparing for war. Now here's where things get interesting. The Lincoln penny struck in 1941 with no mint mark was produced in Philadelphia. Unlike Denver or San Francisco coins, Philadelphia pennies didn't carry a letter. At first glance, they look ordinary. Just a simple Lincoln profile with the words, "In God We Trust." But here's the twist. Not every 1941 penny is equal. Some were struck with unusual errors.
Dublet dies, misalignments, rare die clashes.
These mistakes, invisible to most people, made them incredibly scarce. Scarcity, as every collector knows, drives value. And that's how a penny becomes a fortune. Imagine this. In a coin auction, a collector spots a flawless 1941 penny in near-perfect condition, graded at the highest levels. The bids climb. 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. The tension rises. And finally, the hammer falls at nearly $1 million. Now let me ask you something. Do you feel that jolt of excitement? That rush of possibility? Because right now you might be thinking, could I have one of these coins? Yes, you could. And this is where fear creeps in. Because while some people cash in on these treasures, others toss them away, unknowingly spending a fortune on a pack of gum or dropping it into a change jar at the bank. Don't let that be you. Act 3. The climax and resolution. So how do you know if your 1941 penny is the one? Here's what you need to do. Look for a coin dated 1941 with no mint mark under the date. Then, examine its condition. A coin that looks brand new, with sharp details and no scratches, is a strong candidate. If you see doubling in the words, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," you might be staring at one of the rarest versions ever struck. And here's a tip. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Collectors and grading agencies use a scale called mint state. And if your coin is graded MS67 or higher, you've stepped into the territory where numbers start climbing into the hundreds of thousands. Now here's where urgency matters. Time is not your friend. Coins wear down. Metal corrodes. Families forget the value of heirlooms and spend them by accident. That's why, if you even suspect you own a 1941 penny, you need to act now. Get it appraised. Protect it. And prepare to be astonished at the offers that come your way. Because here's the truth. Wealth is not always found in Silicon Valley startups. It's not always hidden in Wall Street investments. Sometimes it's sitting in the palm of your hand, disguised as a simple copper coin. Let me leave you with this. Every fortune has a starting point. For some, it's real estate. For others, it's stocks. But for you, it might just be an old penny waiting quietly in your home. The question is, will you discover it before someone else does? Imagine for a moment that the smallest coin in your pocket, the 1-cent Lincoln penny, could secretly be worth more than a mansion, more than a luxury car, even more than the lifetime savings of most families. Now, what if I told you that a simple 1936 Lincoln penny with no mint mark could carry a market value of over $836,000 today? Yes, you heard me correctly. A single penny worth nearly $1 million. The question is, do you have one hiding somewhere in your home right now? Before we dive into the hidden world of the 1936 Lincoln cent, let me warn you. Every day, people unknowingly give away coins like these, coins that could pay off mortgages, fund retirements, or leave a legacy for generations. And here's the catch. Once it's gone forever, so stay with me until the very end. Because by then, you'll not only know the secrets of this coin's true value, but also how to recognize whether your penny is worth pocket change or a fortune. Quick question before we start. When was the last time you even looked at the date on a penny? Exactly. Most people don't. And that's why these treasures slip through their fingers every single day. Let's step back to the year 1936. America was clawing its way out of the Great Depression. Jobs were scarce. Families were holding on by a thread. A penny back then wasn't just small change. It could buy food, a newspaper, or a ride on a streetcar. Now imagine the irony. That very same penny, made in those hard times, has become one of the most desired treasures in the entire world of coin collecting. But here's where it gets fascinating. Not every 1936 penny is worth a fortune. The majority are worth only a few cents. The secret lies in details. No mint mark, no damage, sharp condition. These are the clues that separate a worthless coin from one that could change your entire financial future. Think about it. How many times have you walked past an old coin jar, or tossed a penny aside because it seemed worthless? Somewhere out there, a jar in someone's basement might be hiding a life-changing fortune. And that's not a fantasy. Just recently, rare penny finds shocked the collecting world, selling for prices that left even the auctioneers speechless. One particular 1936 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent soared to an astonishing $836,000 in market value. Now, here's the suspenseful part. What makes this coin so rare? Was it a minting error? A low mintage? A perfect condition specimen? The answer is a combination of all three. Only a handful exist in pristine condition. And that scarcity is what drives collectors into bidding wars that send values skyrocketing into the hundreds of thousands. But here's where it gets personal. Imagine holding such a coin in your hand. Feel the weight, the history, the possibility. One small piece of copper, enough to unlock a wealthy lifestyle most people only dream about. And yet, most Americans will never even know it's possible, so where does this leave you? Right now, you could have old coins tucked away in drawers, coin jars, or boxes passed down from family. They may look ordinary, but ordinary is exactly how life-changing wealth hides in plain sight. And here's the urgency. Every day, coins are lost, melted down, or spent without a second thought. Every day, someone unknowingly throws away a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The 1936 Lincoln penny with no mint mark proves one thing beyond doubt. Wealth isn't always built in Wall Street or Silicon Valley. Sometimes, it sits quietly in the palm of your hand, so let me ask you again. Have you checked your pennies lately? Because what if tomorrow, while you're digging through an old coin jar, you spot that 1936 date staring back at you? Will you know what to do? Or will you let it slip away? Here's the truth. Opportunities in life rarely announce themselves. They hide, they wait, and only those who pay attention, only those who take action, ever discover them. Now imagine telling your family, this penny, this small coin we almost overlooked, is worth over $800,000. Imagine the looks on their faces. Imagine the freedom, the security, the legacy. And remember, fortunes are lost in hesitation, but they're gained in awareness. So don't dismiss the humble penny. Your future wealth may already be sitting in your pocket. And here's the twist. The 1936 penny isn't the only coin hiding secrets worth millions. There are others, even more shocking, waiting to be discovered. In my next video, I'll reveal another coin most people ignore every single day. Yet it could outshine even the 1936 Lincoln cent in value. So the real question is, which coin could be hiding in your pocket right now?